Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening. What time is it? 6:30. Good evening. How you guys doing? As always, I'm gonna give about 3 minutes for you guys to get in here, and then we're gonna get started. Sorry for all the noise. I'm moving my mic around to get it closer to me. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. Like I said, once you step out the debt matrix, you always forget what day it is. It's weird. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's still, I mean, I've gotten used to it now, but it's really weird breaking out of that Monday through Friday, thank God it's Friday type of thing. That's just when you get out of debt matrix, you realize you're like, why was I saying thank God it's Friday? So I can get away from a job I hate. It's just, oh man, some of the things I think about when I was in the debt matrix, God, hating Mondays, hump day, Wednesday, all the signs that you hate where you're at and you don't want to be there. And where's that at? Usually the job you hate. And the reason why you're at a job you hate, because you're in debt, but you don't, I didn't know that. What's going on, Aaron? What's up, Zeke? I did not know that, when I was in the debt matrix, man. It's crazy. And I ain't gonna lie, I remember, these are things I remember asking myself when I was in the debt matrix. I used to say to myself, who came up with 40-hour work weeks? Like, who said that Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, this is the standard, this is the way it is, anything over that is over. Who said that? I remember saying that. Yeah, who says that? The wealthy people say that, okay? They tell you that. They're not, and again, they're not doing anything wrong, okay? Wealthy people are not holding you back or hoarding all the money. Those are all debt matrix statements. The wealthy people trust mathematics. They believe in the laws of mathematics when it comes to finances, period. There is nothing nothing else exists outside the laws of mathematics, okay? Anyway, so let's go ahead and let me introduce myself for those of you that are maybe new to the channel. My name is LJ Young, and I'm a 100% debt-free motivational speaker and personal finance educator. I help people become financially free by helping them mathematically see outside what I call the debt matrix. And the debt matrix is a place where slaves live. Now, there's two kinds of slaves. There's unconscious slaves and there's conscious slaves. Here's the definition for unconscious slaves. Unconscious slaves don't trust math, and they don't know they don't trust math, right? If they trusted math, they would know that they're not a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage. All you got to do is put your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. The calculator will clearly tell them that they're not, but yet they believe they are, hence unconscious. Now, there's conscious slaves. They were once unconscious, came across the SMD channel, which there is no other channel like this one on YouTube. Guaranteed there's no other channel like this on YouTube, okay? All right, then now they heard the SMD channel, and they said, I believe the calculator. Now, since they started believing the calculator, they are called conscious slaves, and they're proud to call themselves conscious slaves because they know what it took to become conscious. Now they're doing whatever it takes to get out of debt because they now understand if they're in debt, that means they are owned. Somebody owns you. If you've been in debt all your life, you are owned. And you're probably thinking, nobody owns me, nobody this and that. I know, and I want you guys to understand something about the SMD channel. I can prove everything I'm saying here. Unlike anybody else's gift on YouTube, I can prove mine. Now, the people can describe their gifts to you. Hey, it's this, it feels like this, and it does all that. The only difference between me and their gift, I can prove my gift. I can prove it, everything I'm saying. Now they're doing whatever it takes to get out of debt. They're just doing whatever it takes to be free. And you're probably thinking, well, who owns me then? Log into your online credit reporting account, Credit Karma, Experian, one of them, and log in. Those are the list. That's a list of your owners. Those are all the people that have stock in you, slave. Yes, indeed. If you are owned, you're a slave. Conscious slaves know that, and they're getting out of it because the only way to become free is get to zero. You don't have to have $1,000,000, $1,000,000,000,000, a gazillion dollars, $100,000. All you got to do is get to zero. That's it. That's all. That's what math says. Math said just get to zero and you'll be free. That was me. I didn't know I was a slave until I got to zero. Why? Because I had never been at zero before in my life, up until the age of 40 years old. Didn't know that. Did not know that. College educated, six-figure earner, high level 4, stupid bullshit ass name, network engineer title, everything that my job gave to me. 6 figures, all that. Everything that says you're a high value man inside the debt matrix, that's all bullshit. It's bullshit. None of it's true. None of it. Because I got there, and guess what? Nothing was there. Nothing. I still felt I still felt like something was wrong. You know what it was? I was in debt. I was a slave, keeping my student loans for 10 years when I went to college for 4. What kind of math? What math in the world makes sense? That makes absolutely no sense. But yet there's millions of slaves out there with student loans older than their fucking mortgages. And they believe they're homeowners. Doesn't that sound so idiotic when math clearly tells you that you're not? Once I realized that, I was free. Oh, that what was missing. I was a damn slave. I was a slave. Now I'm free. And I want you guys to come, whoever comes to this chair, I want you guys to understand something. And I want you to feel it in my voice when I speak. I have a fucking superpower, a financial superpower. Oh yeah, you're probably thinking, "Oh, what are you talking about? You can't prove that you have a superpower." Yes, I can. There's trillions of dollars in student loan debt. Trillions with a T. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's none of my business. There's trillions of dollars in car loan debt. Trillions with a T. That shit has nothing to do with me. So what? Who cares? If all those people knew what I knew, car lots would be out of business because there would be nobody left to finance fucking cars. You see why it's a superpower? Millions of people don't know this. I don't care. It's a choice. The system's not, when you guys are in the debt matrix talking about the financial system is against blacks, whites, Chinese, all that, math don't give a shit what color you are. This is what it sounds like when you put race in, when you talk about money. This is what it sounds like. If a black guy said, hey, 5 + 5 = 10, and then some white person stands up and says, he only knows that because he's black. See how it sounds? It sounds fucking stupid. Because it has nothing to do with any religion, color. Math doesn't care. It's the colorblind slave master. That's debt. Debt is the colorblind slave master. Period. You better get out of that. If you ever want to be free, this is what SMD does for you. SMD helps you own yourself. The business of you. All you got to do, you want to be successful. All you got to do is look in the mirror and say, hey man, if I ran my finances, if I was a business and I look at my finances, would I be in business? No, that's where you start. That's exactly where you start. I'm telling you this from experience because I understand that now. You can't own anything outside of yourself if you don't even own yourself. Once I escaped the debt matrix and realized what the power that I have, that's a gift. I hate to say power, it just feels like a power. It feels like movies, right? But it's just a gift that anybody can have. That's what's so crazy. It's so easy to see. Nobody's lying to you. The secret to wealth is not, you know what makes the secret to wealth? Calling it a secret because it's not a secret. It's just mathematics, period. That's it. That's all. That is it. All you got to do is trust math. And remember, all you got to do is look at the number graph. Now, the number graph Remember the zero in the middle? And then on the right, they said if you go right, that's called positive numbers. I remember this in elementary school. And then they said if you go left, that's negative numbers. I remember asking my teacher, why is that one over there look different than that one? Why does the one over there got some kind of minus sign in it and the one over here doesn't? How come the one over here to the right is green? How come the other one is red? Why is that? And then I remember her explaining it to me with math and money. She said, hey, okay, if I give you $1 and then I said, oh, okay, I get it. But somehow I was trained to forget about that. This is what the real deal is for slaves, so you guys can really understand, because you're never going to get it. And this is going to segue into the topic of the video. Unconscious slaves, you guys can't see negative numbers. You guys have no idea negative numbers even exist. You have no clue. Now, when you're out in the finance world and you hear millions of people talking about compounding interest. One second. Compounding interest. This is what happens when interest compounds and this and that and blah, blah, blah. You just hear it and you're like, oh, that must be good. That must be good. It counts on who's telling you that information. Wait a minute. Aren't numbers involved when you're talking about compounding interest? Sure are. Yeah, numbers are involved. Yes. Yeah. So that means there's positive and negative numbers so which one are they talking about when they're talking about, they have to specify if they're talking about positive compounding interest or negative compounding interest. Which one are you talking about? But the unfortunate thing is, slaves, you guys have no idea compounding negative interest exists. And you cannot, according to the laws of mathematics, you cannot do both at the same time. You can't compound interest both positive and negative at the same time. You can't do that. And you're probably thinking, well, what is negative compounding interest, right? You're probably thinking, what is that? When you're paying interest on a mortgage and you're paying interest on a student loan, two of those loans have interest rates and you're compounding them together negatively because you're paying it. Do you understand, slaves? Now, remember, everything I'm saying, I can prove everything. That's what makes it a superpower and a gift, because I'm not just talking shit. I can prove it. And then when you add in credit card interest and you add in car loan interest, you're compounding 4 different interest rates, slave, negatively. Now, the reason why, again, the reason why you guys don't know about this is because you can't see negative numbers. That's why. You can't see it. That's why you believe your homeowners with 30-year mortgages. That's why you believe that. That's why, as we speak, that's why you're probably doing the 40-year extension on your house. You probably don't think nobody could see it, right? No, only other unconscious slaves cannot see what you're doing, slaves. You think you have a choice not to extend your house for the 40 years? You have to, else you're going to lose it, slave. They know that, slave. You are the only one that don't know that. Especially you guys with subprime mortgages, those of you that have refinanced your house about 3 or 4 times, you are going to do it. You don't have a choice. You can't pay back all that money you didn't pay. They know that, slaves. The only people that don't know that is you. Look how much interest you're compounding right now, negatively. And you believe, now remember, if you're this is what you guys really don't understand, is if you're compounding negative interest, that means you have absolutely no money, none, zero. You have no money to invest in anything outside yourself. So it's 100% impossible for you to compound anything positive because you have no money in the first fucking place. You guys don't understand. You guys don't see me. You don't see me or people like me walking amongst you. You have no idea that we exist. They just don't talk to you. I'm one of the ones that voices these things. Now, on the same note, I want you guys to also understand something. Yes, I'm talking like this. Yeah. Do I want it to change? No. Mm-mm. If you wanna grow and prosper in this economy, all you gotta do is just trust the calculator. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Once you trust the calculator, you'll know not to cheat on your taxes, hide money, tax evasion, pretend you have this, and open dummy companies and do this and that. You don't even need to do any of that. None of that. All you gotta do, get out of debt, and you'll see why everything is in place. You'll look at the tax system and say, hey, because nobody ever questions like, hey, why do you go to prison for tax evasion, right? You think, why? You didn't kill nobody, you didn't hurt anybody. Why is that? Once you get out of debt and you're like, oh shit, okay, oh, I get it now. That's the backbone of the whole economy. If they didn't force slaves to play, they wouldn't play. If they didn't force you to participate, you wouldn't participate, slaves. Do you understand? Once you get out of debt, you'll see, oh shit, okay. That's why you follow the rules. That's why you do it. Exactly. Because there's no need to cheat it. But when you hear these people talking about, oh man, the taxes are high here, taxes are keeping us down, those people are talking about, they're talking their way because they're compounding negative interest. That's why they're doing that. Get out of debt, you'll see it. Okay. That's why this is okay. That's why they're taxing that. Okay. Oh, that's why that tax is higher than that. I got it. Okay, cool. Get it. All right, whatever. I wish somebody would have just, this is what I wish somebody would have came to me in my 20s and said this. If somebody like me, who's rare, okay, I understand people like me are rare, but I wish to God somebody would have came to me in my 20s and said, hey, LJ, yeah. I would say, yeah, what is your biggest expense in your life right now? I would have said, my rent, where I live, and said, hey, what would it be like to eliminate that for the rest of your life? I would have been like, oh, that'd be awesome. How do you do that? Pay for a house, buy a house, get a mortgage, pay it off, and be done. Now you don't have rent or mortgage for the rest of your fucking life. I wish somebody would have said that to me. I would have had to go home thinking. I would have been like, wait a minute. You mean I can eliminate the largest expense that I will ever have for the rest of my life, no matter what age I am, I have to have a place to live. 9 times out of 10, I got to be paying rent if I don't own my own shit, right? So if I can eliminate that for the rest of my life, there is no stock out in the world that has better returns than that. The returns to pay you your rent every single month. That's how you look at it. Okay. Whatever you're paying in rent right now, that's your returns every single month for the rest of your life. Why? Because millions of people out there, unconscious slaves, believe rent and or mortgages is part of life. That's what slaves think. Too bad, slaves. Believe that. That's why when you get out of debt, you see things like, it's so crazy. Everything with numbers, having math and money are one. Okay. I want you guys to understand that. There is nothing that, the only thing that can separate math from money are feelings. And if math and money are one, according to the number graph, all the numbers except zero have an opposite. Excuse me. According to the number graph, All numbers have an opposite except zero. And now when I look at the number graph, I say, why? Well, why is zero by itself? Because it's the most powerful number on the number graph. It's sitting there looking right at you, right at you. You know what zero says? Everything has to go through me. Everything. When you talk about your money, everything has to go to me. Yet through me. Yet millions of unconscious slaves never even mention zero. They pretend like it doesn't even exist. And if you don't know zeros there, you most definitely don't know what's on the left side of zero. -1, -2, -3, negative infinity. You guys are doing negative compounding interest every single day. Every day you're compounding negative interest from all the interest that you're paying on credit cards. Some of you guys got 5, 6, 7 credit cards. You're paying interest on that, paying interest on your car loan, paying interest on your mortgage, paying interest on your you're just paying interest everywhere. Compound, all that compounds negatively. And you think you can earn, you think you, when you hear people talking about compounding interest, the wealthy people are talking about positive compounding interest. Okay, they're talking about positive, they're not talking about negative. The reason why they leave off positive, because if they went around and said like this, when they start talking about compounding interest, if they start saying, hey, positive compounding, you'll say, hey, why do they keep saying positive? You guys will catch on. You guys would catch on and say, what? Whoa, okay, so that must mean if they're saying positive, you guys would catch. That's up to you. That's your problem if you don't know if they're talking about positive or negative. That's totally up to you. You cannot have positive compounding interest if you have student loans older than your children. You cannot do that. If your student loans are older than your grandchildren, you're not compounding positive interest anywhere. I promise you that. I promise you. And remember, everything I'm saying I can prove on a calculator. So if you don't believe me, it doesn't matter if you believe me. It does. I believe what the calculator says. Period. Just like just like you guys, when you guys finance a house for 30 years and you believe the equity in the house is yours. So you look at home values, you're looking at home values skyrocket through the roof, and you're like, oh my God, my house is worth this. No, it's not. You didn't. How are you going to own the equity in a house that you didn't even have the money to buy? If you didn't get a mortgage, you wouldn't own a house. But why do you think why do you think you own the equity in a house that you didn't even have the money to buy? You don't. You just believe you do. It's just a belief. Remember, everything I'm saying I can prove. All you gotta do is open up your calculator. I want you, because I don't want you guys thinking I'm tricking you. Okay, open up your calculator. Put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. That's how much equity you own in a house that you don't own. You get it? You get it? You think you have the same type of equity for, like, as a person that paid cash? This is what you're saying, okay? You really, this is don't make any sense. So you believe if you finance a house for 30 years and the person next to you pays cash for their house, cash, you think you own the same equity in the house as when you see it on Zillow or something, house value. You think that equity in the house, it has anything to do with you? No, just for the person that paid cash for the house. You're paying interest. You're compounding negative interest. Do you understand? And like I said, especially you guys that have student loans older than your mortgage, ooh, you're doing all kind of wrongs. You're doing all kind of wrong. That's a sign. That's a very big sign, okay? If your student loans are older than your mortgage, That's a very big red flag. That's like that might as well be the sun in the sky right now. And you're staring at it. You know how people say, hey, don't stare in the sun. It's gonna mess up your eyes. That's the same thing. But worse, this will blow your head off. You don't do that, especially if you have a subprime mortgage. If your student loans are older than your subprime mortgage, you know how much compounding negative interest you're accumulating on that loan? Holy moly. You have no idea what you're doing, not even a clue. Why can't you see it? You don't see negative numbers, slave. You guys don't see them. Now, you guys don't know people like me are walking around amongst you that can see everything. There's people just like me. This they could be your friends. They could be anybody. They just ain't gonna tell you, slaves. Not because they don't care about you, not because they don't love you. It's because you won't listen. They have accepted how powerful the debt matrix is. The debt matrix is powerful, man. Powerful. Do you understand how powerful it is? Like, look at, okay, let me give you an example. There's $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, trillions with a T, trillions. Slaves, do you know it's not normal to keep your student loans longer than actually going to college? Like if you went to college for 4 years, you give yourself exactly maximum of 4 years to pay that back. That's like the maximum. I'm not even say waiting 4 years. I'm just saying you get out, earn that degree, you went to college for 4 years, you give yourself a maximum of 4 years to pay that off. Anything longer, you're starting to compounding negative interest. Only slaves pay on student loans their whole entire life. Only slaves do that. This shit just keeps coming to me. I'm glad it came slow because I would be pissed. But you guys don't even get it, man. You guys don't even get it. It's a superpower, a financial superpower millions can't see. If you guys knew what SMD knows, credit card businesses would go out of business. Car lots, the housing market, everything would disappear. I don't want that. The reason why I'm saying this out loud, slaves can't hear me. Now, you guys that follow this channel, I want you guys to really understand this superpower, okay? No matter what I say, slaves can't hear a thing I'm saying. They have no idea what I'm talking. What do you mean you're not a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage? What do you mean credit means you can live without credit? What do you can buy a car without credit? Yeah, you can buy a house without credit. What do you mean? I've never heard exactly. They don't know. They think you have to be rich to buy a car in cash. They think you have to be rich to do that. Because you notice when slaves, and you slaves, you guys don't know you do this. But as soon as you tell a slave to pay cash for a car, what's the first thing that comes out of their mouth? Oh man, it's gonna be a bucket. It's gonna be a piece of garbage. It's gonna be. You know what they're really saying? They're telling the world of what they can afford. Maybe they're telling the world that if they have to buy a car in cash, that's the kind of car they will be able to afford. Because that's not what I think when I think about buying a car in cash. I'm gonna buy me a good quality car. That's period. I'm not going to buy a piece of shit. They're telling the world what they can afford. They don't know they're doing that. They don't know they're saying that. That's why slaves don't know about compounding negative interest. What's up, Alicia, Omanike, Nicer, Sal's, Jewel? Nice. Very nice. Says my friend who makes 120,000 paid 33 in tax last year. Thank God my car's almost paid off. I'm almost free. And you know, so crazy when I made that kind of money, you know, there's so many easy ways to reduce your tax bracket. It's so many ways, man. But you got to get out of debt. You get out of debt, you won't have to be paying that much in taxes legally. There's legal ways to do it. There's a whole bunch of legal ways to do it. period. Because this is the reason why I knew this. Okay, this is crazy. All right, I remember the last year I got debt free. I still worked a year, and then I quit the following year. Okay, so I worked a whole year, but as a debt-free employee. Okay, I promise you, the workplace is very different when you're debt-free. I promise you, it's different, totally different. You'll see, you'll see where they take advantage of your time, taking it for free, working outside the 40 hours, answering emails and text messages after hours. You guys think it's normal. That's not normal because they're not paying you for that. They don't know that. But anyway, this is my point. I remember I was putting in the minimum they require for a 401k, right? And just to put some away for retirement. They always say, "Hey, take this percentage and put it away for retirement," blah blah blah, right? But then I realized that I'm like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me if I put away $19,000 into retirement, I can also take off $19,000 off my taxes, my annual income? Sure can. Isn't that like double dip and put money away and and reduce my tax bracket? Yeah, that's a win-win. Only people that's not in debt could ever afford. I've never in the history of my working career, I have never maxed out my 401k retirement ever. I remember they used to tell me the maximum. Oh, the maximum is 19,500. I was like, hell no, there is no way I can just put away 19. You know why I couldn't do that? Because I was in debt. I was making 100 and some $1,000. That was easy. You mean I can also put away money in my HSA too and reduce it again? Yeah, sure can. You know who can't do it? Slaves can't do that. You guys cannot afford to put $19,500 away in your retirement because you're in debt. You know how they always say, "Hey, you know what? The more you make, the more they take." Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. The more you make, the more they take. But then there's ways to, hey, government, what can I do to reduce my tax bracket? The government says you can do this. Okay, thank you. I'll do that. And then I reduce my tax bracket. You don't have to pay. You don't have to stay up in your high tax bracket. There's ways to reduce it. You know who can't do it? Slaves can't do that. Two people could be making the same amount of money. Two people, $120,000, $160,000. One person not in debt and one person in debt. The one person that's not in debt would be making more than that because the person not in debt can reduce their tax bracket by retirement accounts and HSA, stuff like that. The person making a 160 whatever that's deep in debt cannot afford to give 19,500 and then another 6,500 away to F family HSA. They can't afford to do that. So guess what? They're stuck in the high tax bracket and they have to pay it. You get it, slaves? Now you're probably thinking, if I'm compounding negative interest, how am I putting away money in retirement? If you're contributing to your retirement and your student loans, put it this way, if your student loans are older than your retirement account, you're not putting away money to anything. Okay. I promise you, you have no money to put away any money into retirement. Now, this is all you got to do. Okay. This is all you got to do. Take how much money you put away in the retirement, that whatever, how much they take out per month. And then I want you to say minus your student loan debt and hit equal. And then right there that should tell you how much money you have to put away for your retirement. Now you're probably going to glitch us. You're probably thinking, well, LJ, that's a negative number. Exactly. It's a negative number. The answer is that you can't. But yeah, you believe you are. There's another belief. Now you believe you're a homeowner. You believe you're putting away money for retirement when you're not. I'm proving it to you. Why you guys? Hey man, and this is my opinion, okay? Because it just makes mathematical sense. Why do you think retirement accounts exist? Why do you think they really exist for you? Retirement's not an age. They already the reason why they exist because they know you guys don't have any money to do it yourself. You don't know that you can do it yourself. You don't know you have to do it yourself. You don't need nobody to help you. Hey, check it out. If it's a retirement account with a tax break, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in. Because I used to always think that was weird. It's like, man, this like when you only can contribute to your 401k if you have a job, right? But if you don't have a job, the money's still yours, but you can't contribute to that 401k when you don't have a job. Don't you think that's weird? Don't you think that's your account, but you can't put money in it unless you have a job? Don't you find that weird? Because if you want to do that, that means you must know something. You must know, oh, that's just a tax break. I'll take that. Oh shit, I have to have a job though. Oh damn. Oh, I like that. Nicer. I like that. Here's a shirt. Savings minus debt, the alien way equal the alien way. I like that. I like that whole wording right there, just with the alien head in there. Simple, white shirt with just that on there. I'm keeping that. That's a bomb idea right there. I like that. Take a snapshot of that. Now, if you're new to the channel, I am here for free to answer these questions for you, man. Now I know it's a shocker. I get it. You hear me, you hear somebody, and you be like, "Oh, he's full of shit." But then every time you pull up the calculator, I'm right. The calculator is where I live. If you don't believe the calculator, listen. Now I want you to listen closely. If you don't believe the calculator, that's your problem. Okay, that's your problem. If you believe you're a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage, and when you can just put in a calculator and clearly see you're not, that's your problem. If you've been paying on your house for like 20, 25 years and you're about to extend it another 40 years, that's your problem. That's your problem. Imagine, imagine how many slaves that already have student loans older than their mortgages, and they're about to extend their mortgage 40 years. Do you know how much negative compounding negative interest that is? Do you know how much that is? Bananas. Do you know how many unconscious slaves, young unconscious slaves, that are going to they're going to believe that 40-year mortgages is the standard? Because now I think about it this way. When did 30-year mortgages become the standard? I just was born into it. Listen, I was just born into 30-year mortgages. I was just, oh, hey, that's just the standard, blah, blah, blah. I did it twice. I thought it was normal, right? Now, these young adults are going to be born into 40-year mortgages. They're not going to know anything else. They're just going to believe that the 40-year mortgages is a standard. And you got to remember, that's just an open standard. That's not counting 40-year, 50-year, 60-year mortgages have been around for forever. Every time you refinance your house, you're starting over again. Can you imagine how many years have added up? Come on, man. I'm talking about compounding negative interest. Put it this way, you guys. Okay, so you guys can really get this. All right. If you ever hear somebody talking about compounding interest, I want you to ask that person, hey, do you have student loans? If they say yes, I'm here to tell you they don't know it, but they're talking about compounding negative interest. They're talking about negative compounding interest. Negative compounding interest. They have to be. They have student loans. Hey man, didn't you graduate 20 years ago? Yeah. What that got to do with anything? Nothing. Never mind slaves. Never mind. you know how bad this shit is. I mean, this is just like, I swear to God, it's like, hey man, think of a this is how you gotta look at like Superman movies, right? I mean, I'd say Superman because that's been my favorite character, right? Now, when you think about this is what it feels like. This is the kind of superpower feels like. Now, remember, when you watch Marvel movies, right? Don't look at the things that you know that are humanly impossible. There's not going to be lasers coming out of your eyes. You're not going to be able to stop bullets or whatever, right? You're not going to be able, but understand the part that when they become that character, that's how they feel. That's just kind of describe to you how they feel inside. That's what it is. First, they don't know it. Okay. Then they go through this whole phase of discovering their powers. This is the same thing. This is how I didn't know it. I didn't know I was a slave. Then weird things started happening. Next thing you know, I got out of debt and voila, now I'm free. That's what it feels like. But this is a superpower that I can prove with I can prove it with the calculator. That's it. I can prove it. Everything I can prove. Do you realize how much you hear when because once you own yourself, it's different. Once you own you, everything's different. You won't date anybody that doesn't own themselves, especially the ones that don't even know they don't own themselves. You wouldn't date that person. Your dating life changes. You stop listening to what people consider high value people. The only thing you're going to look at it says, does that person own themselves? No, then it doesn't matter. I'm not getting with them. Procreate with a person that doesn't own themselves. Can you imagine the negative compounding interest is when you don't own yourself and then you have a child? When you have another human being that you have to take care of. Do you realize how much negative compounding interest that is when you don't even own yourself to begin with and you have another person? That was me. When I think about my young self, I had no business having a kid because I was a slave. I was a slave myself, but I didn't have nobody to tell me I was a slave because had I known I was a slave, there was no way I would have had children at that particular time in my life. Most definitely would not have procreated with another person, another slave that doesn't own themselves. I would have never done that. Because once you get out of debt and stop compounding negative interest, you're going to realize time is the most valuable thing on earth. It's time. Everybody, all of us know, you're going to be dead one day, right? What the fuck you doing? Why are you wasting? What are you wasting time on? You don't even own yourself. You don't even own yours. If you log into your Credit Karma or whatever, and that's a big negative number, you don't own the time in your life. They do. A credit score is nothing more to reward you slaves for staying in debt. That's what it is. It's not a badge of honor. It's I promise you it's not that. Yet there's millions of people out there telling you that it's something important. You know why they're telling you that? Because they're slaves too. You better believe it. You know how many slaves telling you guys bad information? Every day, nonstop, talking about compounding interest. They're not telling you. Gotta next time somebody starts talking about compounding interest, you got to ask them: are you talking about positive compounding interest, or are you talking about negative compounding interest? 9 times out of 10, you know what they're going to say? What do you mean negative interest? You're going to say, are you a homeowner? They're going to say yes, and then you say, open your calculator. They're going to open up the calculator and say, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. That's what you're compounding daily right there. Does that look like it's positive compounding? No, that's negative. Exactly. Now what again, what you're talking about compounding interest? Because anybody talking to you about compounding interest, if they're making car payments, mortgage payments, student loan payments, upside down car payment, whatever, they're talking about negative compounding interest, not positive compounding interest. You think I saw that when I lived in the debt matrix? Sure didn't. Didn't see none of that. When you guys understand, you own yourself, you own your time, you're going to be cutting off a lot of the bullshit you pay attention to right now. You're going to be cutting all that off. You're not going to be listening to slaves talk about money. That's going to immediately stop. You're not going to care how they're dressed, what they look like, how they speak. If they're a slave, they're just a well-dressed slave, period. If they're trying to convince you to finance exotic cars, those are slaves talking to you. Okay, they're just you got to understand, if you're financing a car and you're making car payments and they're financing a car, they're making car payments, the only difference between you two, that person's making a bigger car payment. That's it. Nothing's different. You guys are both slaves. Who cares what the bank's cars look like? So what? I don't care I don't care how fast they're driving the bank's car. So what? The bank don't give a shit about that exotic car, I promise you. If you're making car payments, I'm telling you guys, the banks don't care about your depreciating objects. They don't really care. They care if you make those payments, though. That's important. Believe that. Car payments, negative compounding interest. You take your car payment, and then you take your student loan payment, and then you take your mortgage payment, and then you take your credit card payments, and you add up all the interest. That's all the compounding negative interest you're doing right now. That's it. Every day, every day, and as long as you're in the negative, you don't own the time in your life. None. That's why the majority of you slaves, you believe somebody is an asshole that cares about their time. No, they just respect theirs. You don't. You show up late. You think it's not a big deal to be late all the time. Nah, cat. I'm gonna be there one day. I ain't fucking around like that. Oh, LJ, you're an asshole. So what? I don't care what you think. So what? So what? I don't care what you think. So what? Slaves ignore the calculator app every day, but at the end of the night, they know those bills and payments just pile up interest and constant spending on unnecessary things all the time. Where I live, I see young men financing trucks as well as snowmobiles, quads, and think to myself, how do they can afford? You know, so crazy. Now, a car's bad enough. Can you imagine these slaves are financing snowmobiles, those three-seater motorcycle things, stupid ass things they'd be driving? They'd be financing that shit. They don't even know. They have no idea what that tells the bank. You're financing something that you don't even need. You don't even need that, and you're financing it. The banks are making a killing, compounding that negative interest, compounding it. They have no idea it exists. Slaves, hey, I keep telling you slaves this too, okay? Cryptocurrency couldn't exist without you, slaves. It could not exist without you. They tell you guys so much shit, you guys just believe it all. They just be making up coins, and you guys fought. Man, god damn, man, that's just you don't have to steal. You don't have to cheat on your taxes. You don't have to do any of that. Slaves are giving away money. They're giving it away. When you start to value your time, you naturally set up boundaries. Sure do, and that leads to peace of mind. Sure, exactly right, Nicer. That's exactly right. You don't care what how people you'll realize you I always go back to relationships too, and this is what I swear. I hope it doesn't happen, but if you're in a relationship, and if you're on this channel right now and you're in a relationship and you wake up and the person you love doesn't, that relationship's over. If you try to show them, say, "Hey, baby, we've been doing it wrong. This is what we do to be free, blah blah blah," and they don't listen to you, I promise you that relationship's over. Once you own yourself, you cannot be with a slave. You will not be able to. You will not be able to tolerate it because they'll still do the slave things they do, financing cars and clothes and vacations and getting multiple credit cards and jacking them to the ceiling, getting extensions, pulling out payday loans on them and all that stuff, earning app. They're going to continue the behavior. You won't be able to live with that. Sorry, that relationship's over. I hope if you're a couple, I hope you guys wake up together. I really do. Because if you don't, because that'll relationship will be over. And once you wake up and once you own yourself, you'll never date a slave ever. So you won't have to worry about the divorce rate and fucked up relationships and I mean, not 100%, but you will have eliminated at least 90% of those problems because most of the people that are involved in that, they don't care about their time, and you won't be in a relationship that's actually wasting the time in your life. You won't allow that. So he says, AJ says, I just dropped 1,200 on a repair, but it's not the same. Now, a slave would look at 1,200 and be like, God damn, that's a lot of money. That's a new car. No, it's not, slave. It's just $1,200. When you're not, imagine, put it this way, slave, so you guys can get it. Okay. You pay $500 a month for 12 months for a year, right? What's that to about $6,000? Okay. You pay $6,000 to own your car for that year. The next person, as we're going to use AJ as for example, he doesn't have a car payment. For that same year, he drops $1,200. See, do you see the money difference now? That's the difference. And that's $6,000. That was just even. That's not included interest on the money for that car loan that you're doing. Do you understand? So when you're not paying $7,000 a year, $1,200 is nothing. That's a deal. Slaves don't know how free that is, man. When you pull into the repair shop with your car and it needs some kind of major repair, and they come out, and even the people at the repair shop, they come out with this like, oh my God, I don't want to tell this guy this repair bill. Man, he's gonna start tripping. And then when you come out and they say, hey man, it's gonna be 1,600, and you go, okay, call me when it's done. They'd be like, what? They have this look on their face like, that's that. Yeah, hey man, as long as you guys do it right and I don't got to come back, you guys do it right. Hey, whatever. Call me when it's done. Do you know how fast my repair shop gets my shit done? I have to tell them to take their time. Hey man, they'd be like, hey, when you need this car back, I say, hey, man, don't worry about it, man. Just call me when you guys are done. They be calling me the next day. Hey, Mr. Young, it's done. I'm like, oh shit, okay. Well, all right, I'll be on down to fix it. Okay, that's gonna be blockety blah blah blah. All right, I'll be there. Only slaves will find a $1,000 problem with their paid off car and start manifesting in their mind. I'm like, why drop $1,000? This car, this is called manifestation. Okay, so you guys understand it, and the same thing goes for manifestation. Positive, you can manifest positively or you can manifest negatively. Okay, so this is a manifestation, right? You have say like you have a paid off car and it just broke down and it's a few years older and it costs $1,000 to fix. But since you don't have $1,000, you start manifesting in your brain like this. Oh man, that car ain't worth this. It's only worth this Kelly Blue Book. I put $1,000. I'm just throwing away my money. And then you tell all your friends, you guys start doing it together, manifesting this lie together because you have no money. That's why the real reason why you don't get the car fixed is because you don't have $1,000. That's the real reason, but you don't want to accept that. So you and your friends, you get together like a little tribe and start manifest. Hey man, why don't you just take that same thousand and go get a brand new car, put $1,000 down, and then you'll be rolling around cleaner. And now you got monthly payments. You just manifested a car that you couldn't afford to buy because you had no money. You had no money. According to the calculator, you had no money to get a brand new car, but yet you're driving in one right now. You're driving a new car. You manifested that because it's not true. According to the calculator says, you don't have a new car. You couldn't get one. What do you mean? You're not in a new car. You can't. But you decide to that's called positive negative manifesting. Positive manifesting is like, okay, uh, I need to figure out how come I ain't got $1,000 to fix my car. What's the reason for that? And then positive things start to happen. Oh, okay, this reason, this is why this is that, blah, blah, blah. This was basically what SMD does. What's up, Randy woman? I got about 10 minutes left here. 20 minutes. And I'm here to answer any questions if you have any about the title. Maybe you don't understand negative compounding interest or compounding negative interest. Either way, if you don't understand it, maybe this is the time to ask me the questions. What does that mean? Because a lot of people don't. The reason why I could say this in the open, okay? I know this sounds weird, but the majority of people that will hear this, they have no idea what I'm talking about. They're probably saying things like, "Oh, if that was true, everybody would be doing it. That's not true. Nobody would make no money." Blah. It's just so stupid, right? They just don't. They'll just start making up things. But if you turn to them and say, "But is what he's saying mathematically true? Is it mathematically true?" They have to say yes. They have to. You ask them, "Is it normal to go to college for 4 years and keep your student loans for 20? Is that normal? Is that mathematically normal?" They would have to say, "No, that's not. If you do the math, no, it doesn't. That doesn't make any sense." Exactly. CENTS. It doesn't make any sense. I have an associate that has 4 cars, doesn't take care of them at all. Even this, even his newest truck, he said he has equity. He has equity on each car. Has at least 6 problems with them. 3/4 are broke. Oh my God! He has equity in cars. Slaves believe they have equity in cars. That's crazy. That is absolutely bananas. But listen, without slaves believing that, without slaves financing cars, without slaves believing they're homeowners with 30-year mortgages, without slaves believing a credit score is a badge of honor or something, whatever, right? A high credit score means something. They think a high credit score has something to do with finances. They think a high credit score has some. They have to believe that. Without them believing that, the economy couldn't exist. So if you come here, I want you to understand I'm not against the economy because the economy is just there. It's just in place. It's there. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. Your feelings about it are irrelevant. It's either if you trust mathematics, it's for you. If you don't, it's against you. It's that simple. The system knows, the financial system knows positive and negative numbers exist. The system understands that. If you don't, that's your problem. Like, let me give you another example. I'm gonna give you another example, okay? And this is my opinion, okay? This is my opinion. Now, I knew there was gonna be the biggest housing market crash that you ever seen in your life. That was coming. That was coming. I said, I already said the president is the only one that could stop that. That was only. I was like, okay, they're already giving away money, and so they would have to they would have to come up with 10 times that to prevent this housing market crash. And then the proposal comes out of 40-year extensions. That shit, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's like having a front row seat saying, "Oh my God. Whoa, I did not see that coming. I sure didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming." I was like, because you got to think about it. The reason why, in my opinion, the reason why it couldn't happen, because if all you slaves got kicked out of your house at one time, you would wake up. Like, if think about it, if millions of people got kicked out at once, and you guys imagine you guys being all out in the street with your stuff in the street, all at the same time, you guys would look at each other and say, "Hey, wait a minute." You guys would be like, "Wait a minute, all of us didn't really own our house." No, you sure didn't. Sorry about that. And then you guys would wake up. You were like, "Whoa, what about all our shit?" None of that stuff was yours. They took away. It's like they took away your house, repossessed your car, and then you're out in the front yard with your stuff, all at the same time. Well, so when you look down the street, all the people that you thought had money, they're out on the street too. You'd be like, "Wait a minute, wasn't you driving a BMW? Wasn't you driving that new Maybach? Yeah. How come you're out on the street? Because they're saying like you slaves." You guys will wake up. But that can't, hey, that cannot happen. That cannot happen. And then when this proposal came, I was like, whoa, that was brilliant, man. I ain't gonna lie. That, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I just think it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You guys are all behind on your mortgages, all of you, millions. And they say, in order for you to keep your house, take this 40-year extension. You have to pay us back the year you lost, no penalties and fees, and you get to keep your house. Whatever you want to hear, slaves. You better believe you slaves are going to take it, because you don't want to. If you get it kicked on the street, it will expose you. So in order to not to be seen, you're going to take a 40-year extension on your house, on the house, which is not your house. You know how many slaves have to take that proposal? You guys have to take it. You have to. I mean, you don't have to. You can say, "Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna let it all go and be free," but you're not, because right now you have a choice. You can open up the calculator. Listen closely, okay? You can open up the calculator. Right now is a very crucial time because it's the beginning of the new economy. It's brand new. Right now, you can choose to believe your calculator and be free, or you can continue on and choose not to believe your calculator and do the 40-year extension, and you're going to be there until you're dead. That's what you're going to do. You're going to be a slave until you're dead. My cousin refinanced his house so him and wife could buy a building for their daycare. They had for 7 years now. They brag about their new BM. Oh my God. Mm. Going in, they think by going in debt, they own a bit. They think they own a business going in debt. That makes absolutely no sense. None, zero. You better believe those cars are financed too. But they're smart business owners. Yeah, I bet you they think they are. I'm glad you brought this up. I just heard what might happen at the end of this month for those that haven't paid their rent and spent the money the government gave them for it on BMWs about to get real. Oh, the PPP? You talking about PPP money? Yeah. Don't get me started on that PPP money, man. I actually, hey, I actually feel sorry for you guys, man. I do. Those of you that took that PPP money, you never once stopped to say, why is that money so easy to get? Why are so many people on the internet trying to help me get it? What do you mean? You want me to get PPP money? Yeah. But I don't own a business. That don't matter. Yes, it does. According to the rules, it does. This is what you have to spend the money on if you get it. Oh, and you buy something else that, man, it don't matter if you try to flip it and pay it back. That's it. That's once you hit enter, that's fraud. That's immediate. That's wire fraud. I mean, a litany of charges. As soon as you press enter, that's it. Don't matter if you think, oh man, sorry, here's the money back. No, doesn't work like that. Andre says, I told you, LJ, most business owners are worse off than the general public. You better believe that. That's clear as day. They tell you guys on the news every day. The news does this, but you don't really understand how to listen to the news, right? You hear somebody that put somebody, the news will put somebody on there talking about a business owner. Oh, this business owner is out of business after 30, 40 years of business. You're out of business after 1 month, 2 months? And you've been in business for 40 years and you're out of business because you have to close for a few months. So you're out of business after 40 years. They just told you something. Because if they own, after 40 years, you should be owning that business by now. You should be owning it. So if something like this happens and you have to close down for a few months, it's not a big fucking deal. As soon as you open back up, you say, hey, tax person, here's our losses and blah, 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 and this and that. And you write it all up and you submit it to the IRS, and that's that. But when they get on the news talking about, hey, I've been out of work, my job, this and that, and the business closed down after 1 month of not having no business, they already had problems well before the pandemic. A coworker got 40,000 PPP loans and she didn't even fill out the paperwork. Now I'm gonna tell you something that's just my opinion, okay? And I was starting to say it earlier. There's a reason why it's so easy, slaves. It's bait to own you, slaves. It's bait to own. They're going to give you more money than you ever seen in your life because only a slave. Now, listen, this is very important, okay? This is very important. Only a slave would ever trade the time in their life for money. I'm going to say that one more time. Only a slave would ever trade the time in their life for pieces of green pieces of paper with ink on it. Right on the government website, they tell you how much they make money for. Now I'm gonna give you an example. Say like you got a PPP. I'm gonna keep it small. Say like you got a PPP loan of $1,000, 10 $100 bills. Now, if you just Google how much does it cost to make $100 bill, they're going to take you to it's going to take you to a government website. I want you guys to do this yourself, so I don't want you to think I'm tricking you. Click on a link and go see how much the government says they make $100 bill for. 14 cents. They tell you that right there. It's not a secret. They're telling you right there. Now, if you stole $1,000 in PPP loans, I want you to erase that. You stole 1,000, and I want you to go 14 cents times 10. 14 cents, 0.14 times 10. That's how much you are going to lose. That's how much you paid to lose the time in your life. Not only with jail, now you have to pay penalties. The only way you can pay that penalty, you have to go out and work. The only way you can work, you have to use the time of your life to earn the green pieces of paper that you stole. You didn't really steal $1,000 with 14 cents. What's that, $1.40? You're going to be paying back thousands of real dollars. Probably lose some of the time in your life by going to jail for $1.40. Go check it yourself. I don't want you guys thinking I'm lying to you. They offer you guys more money than you ever seen in your life, and you take it, slaves. Now you're a slave, especially you young ones, you teenagers, you early 20s that did that shit. Clueless. It's not even your fault. You guys come to earth, don't know shit, get directed by slaves. They get you wrapped up in some bullshit. Guess what? That's a federal crime. Federal. Now you are stamped for fucking life. And you're 18, 19, 20, 21. Life is not going to be impossible, but now it's going to be harder. Now I want you guys to understand something too. It just because somebody, and you're young, and somebody persuaded you into doing this PPP loan, let's take a step back even further. When somebody came to you and offered you this unbelievable amount of money for doing some stupid stuff that you know is not true, something in your mind said, wait a minute, that's not true. I don't really own a business. That's not really my name. That's not really my address. I really didn't do that. I really don't have any employees. Something told you that. We don't have anything that person is telling us we have to fill out this paperwork under my name. Something said that. But you know what overrid that? Your ego for those green pieces of paper. Now they own you for $1.40. If you got $1,000, $100 bills. This is a hard pill to swallow. I understand this. Shoot. Oh boy. Crap. Hold on for a second, you guys. I forgot to set that timer. Okay. All right, we're gonna have to cut this short because I'm already out of time. I shouldn't have been going on this long. But think about what I'm saying. All right, think about what I'm saying. And if you like the video, please don't forget to like it. I don't want to think about. I'm tricking you. It's the drinking game. Any other suggestions? I'm throwing. I don't want. I'm not sure what you're saying there. But you guys have a good evening. All right. Until next time. See you later.